So all of us get the chance to celebrate this feast. When you talk about exaltation of the cross, the question is, why the cross? Ask yourself that question, why the cross? Because honestly, if God wanted to save us, he would just snap his finger and say, okay, you are saved. And it could have been saved. Or would have said, you are all saved, speaking it out, and still would be saved. But why the cross? Because the cross represents total human violence. There is nothing beautiful about the cross until Christ died on the cross. When you go back in history, the Romans used the cross as a form of torture, like a death sentence. Actually, if you read the history, they tell you when they went to Europe back then, when they conquered Gaul, which is present-day France, the whole region had around 3 million people. The Roman crucified 1 million people because they rebelled against them. So it was a message to them to say, hey, you refuse our power, this happens to you. So the cross had nothing beautiful about it. It was seen as a sign of failure and rejection. But Christ decides to embrace that cross and turns it into a sign of victory. God chooses to use the cross because he decides to come into the human violence to transform it from within. That's why the cross is no longer a symbol of defeat, but a sign of victory. Now, if you go back thousands of years and ask Caesar, Caesar, these people are worshiping the cross. What do you think he's going to think? Say, they must be crazy. Because it's a sign of torture for them. That's why St. Paul says, to us Christians, it's wisdom. To the Jews, it's a scandal. To the non-Jews, a sign of defeat. It's stupidity. It's the wisdom of God that is hidden in the cross. So in the first reading today, we see after coming from Egypt, the children of Israel are in the desert, of course, with Moses. And what they do what we do most. What human beings do most? Complain. We are the masters of complaining, okay? Oh, it's raining today, it's sunny today, it's too cold, it's so windy. We are masters of complaining. If someone says, I am hungry, okay, bring someone a steak, say, well, it's well done. They say, really? We find a reason to complain at every stage. And this is what we see in the first reading. They cried to God to save them. God sent Moses, saved them. And then they say, well, did you bring us here to kill us from here? They're still complaining. So what does God do? He sends the seraphims, kind of snakes, and they begin biting and killing them. Whoever complains dies. And of course, when they see people dying, what do? They run back to God, to Moses, please save us, we've sinned against you. And God tells Moses to draw a self on the cross, lift it up, that whoever looks at it and is bitten by the snake will be saved. It wasn't because of what it was a sign of faith. Whoever looks at it and sees it and hopes in God was saved. So now we see the image of the cross coming from the Old Testament. When the self which saved the people, Christ becomes the new cross that saves all of us. And what we see, all this goes back to Genesis. When God said, you can eat every tree but the one in the middle of the tree. In the garden, don't eat that one. Of course, we rebelled. We know sin came into the world. The cross becomes the new tree in the middle of the garden. And its fruit, it's the Eucharist. The church becomes the garden. This is the new garden with the cross as the center of our worship. So when you look at the cross today, ask yourself, which crosses are you carrying in your life? We all have crosses we are carrying. Christ was lifted up so he can embrace all of us. He invites all of us. When he's lifted up on the cross, when he's rejected by earth and heaven hangs in the middle, invites all of us to embrace the cross. Today we shall have an opportunity after Mass for the Tills will be here. We are privileged to have a relic of the true cross of Christ. So those who like to venerate it, for the Tills will be here to have that chance. But it's not about the veneration, is to ask yourself, what does the cross mean for me as a Christian? Because on that tree, your life changed. On that tree, the course of your life changed. And what the message it has for us is the message of love, whereby God teaches us that love conquers every violence. Every human rejection is conquered on a cross. So whatever crosses we have today, let us bring them to the cross of Christ and venerate the cross whereby our life was redeemed. The Lord be with you.